We're going to talk about business failure, in my opinion, and what it takes to make sure it doesn't happen.
Okay, so if you haven't already subscribed, now would be the perfect time. And before we even get into it, this is real. The stuff I'm talking about business being stressful, about going through hell, pushing no matter what, all these reasons and this big accumulation of what I think about how not to fail, this is real. Guys, we all have challenges. You gotta keep rolling. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you get something out of it. Please comment as soon as you feel something that sticks out to you, you've been through. Or you've got a memory of how something like this, or you've had to push, you got a story about that. Please comment when you got that. Let's get into this, guys. It's gonna be good. Tons of content.
So getting into this whole business failure, people having big failures in business, and a huge thing that I realized today was a perfect example of it. And it seems like beginning of the week, sometimes you'll have this, or any time, is you have to be able to push even when you don't want to. We had everything go sideways yesterday. We had ransomware attacked our main computer that does all of our QuickBooks information. Everything's encrypted. We lost all of our data for this year. Now that happens to people, and it'll freeze you up. It froze me up. But then I realized, man, stopping and freezing up and not continuing to produce, continuing to move forward was not going to help any. It wasn't going to fix the situation. Being freaked out and running around like a chicken with my head cut off was not going to fix the situation. You know, that stuff happens, and like me, I was upset and I took it out on, it seems like it caused me and my wife to not get along that night, and it made me take out stuff on other people, and it's not good. As an owner, it is a horrible thing to do, to react that way, but sometimes, people understand. It just really, really gets hard. There's things that happen. It seems like when it comes, it happens with several different things, and it just kind of piles up, and it's something that you've got to get a hold of. You've got to keep pushing. So this happened, found this out last night. Super frustrated about it. A bunch of other things were going on as well. Super slammed, getting back from a conference. Can't get estimates done. It's raining, can't get any jobs done. And so all this stuff's piling up. And last night, I realized this is not helping any. In the morning, I was still frustrated. I went all through the morning taking stuff out on people. And I was like, dude, you're an idiot. You got to get back in the game. You got to keep cranking. You got to make sure we're producing to keep rocking and rolling for everybody. And so that's what we did. And I got my mind back on right. I started to get my attitude back around. And by noon, I was kicking butt again. So, this is something you have to watch. You have to push even when you don't want to, when you own a business. It's super important. This is a whole different mindset. It's a whole different thing. You can't just stop because you feel like stopping. So, the second part of this is the help, the thing that gets you past this, the thing that makes it easier. I always talk about business purpose, but business purpose is exactly right. When you have a purpose, when bad things come up, it gives you a reason to keep pushing. Ooh, sorry for the shakes there. It gives you a reason to keep pushing. You also have to think about the good things. What all is good in your business? What all is going right? What all is good in your life? And you have to use this stuff. You have to dig down deep into that. So I used this thing. I got frustrated. My kids saw it. My wife saw it. It didn't affect anything well. And then I start thinking, how's this affecting my boys? They see me frustrated. How's this affecting my relationship with my wife when we're bickering because of what I'm going through and I'm taking it out on people? And you start realizing that this is getting you nowhere. You need to be focusing on what's good and keep on moving forward, because no one sitting around and crying, why me, which I did. I did that. And honey, if you watch this, I'm sorry. And everybody else that was involved with me this morning, I'm sorry. And maybe a little bit yesterday evening. You got to focus on the good, and you got to keep going. And it sounds so simple, but you know, a lot of times, how often do you focus on something bad and it just continues to get worse? You know, there's been times where I've had a job before, and when I thought the job was horrible, it was horrible. But that same job a month later, when I was happy and when I was thinking the job was all right, I loved the job. So it's just really, really crazy to think about that mindset. All of the stuff I'm always talking about, a lot of this revolves around mindset. So get your mind right for everybody's sake. Okay, so I made a video about this the other day on a closed group I'm a part of, and you need to be focusing, like that purpose, all of those things. You need to be focusing on, in my opinion, the way to get away from these failures and this stopping, and stopping is what actually causes business failure. You need to be trying to go out there and create a life. You know, you're not just going out there to work a job, bust your back, kill yourself. You need to be focusing all of this on around building a life you love. So there's no difference between work and play, and all of it is a good, fun time for you and everybody around you. Yeah, now given that there's years where you're growing and you're changing things quickly, where it's not always going to be play, and you're going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be stressful. But that's all with the intention of building a life built off of a purpose. You know, what's your reason? You know, a lot of my reasons, my family, my kids are my why. Providing for my wife and kids is probably the biggest why I have, and then someday being able to do even more as far as giving back. You know, I have a lot of things I want to give back to, but I have to be able to give back to them. So I know that I got to keep pushing. I know that I can't stop. You know, there's a lot of people that have ran into all kinds of problems, and this video started off as you know, how to prevent business failure. And then you probably, if you're still watching, you got to this point, you're like, he's just talking about keep pushing, keep going. The only reason you fail is because you quit. So if you're going to be someone that is, every time it gets hard, you're going to stop, it's going to slow you down, and or you're just going to give up, business might not be the right thing for you, because it's going to be hard a lot. You know, you're going to lose 1,000,000 times and win 1,000, and those wins are going to be the big stuff that everybody remembers, but nobody sees the losses. And this is all tying into how to not fail, why my opinion of business failure. You know, there are all kinds of stories of people that are so close to bankrupt, or read Phil Knight's memoir of, he was so close to bankrupt the whole way through, and they just kept going. They kept pushing. Whoever's watching this as an entrepreneur, we are fact finders, problem solvers. We learn, we push, we adapt. And guys, you just have to do exactly what I said. Find the good in life. Find the good in the things. Find the good in your purpose, and use it to propel you forward. Because once you're rolling, and once everything's going in the right direction and things are building, it gets harder and harder to slow you down each time. And you can take on bigger and bigger problems each time. And this is how people grow. And all of a sudden you look back and you're like, wow, I can't believe what used to be a big deal to me, because that would be nothing today. So I hope this has touched some of you guys on pushing through it. If you're in a hard time and you don't feel like you can make it, man, you can make it. All you have to do is keep going. You don't fail if you don't quit, man. And I know that might sound ridiculous, but it is not a lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness. And don't do that to yourself. You're extremely resourceful. You are so amazingly smart. You're a creative individual that can do anything you put your mind to. And that's what we need to be. That's how we need to be thinking about ourselves, because it's true. We are not just some simple person with, we can only do this little amount. We all got given the same thing. We are blessed to be able to be as capable as we are. Go out there and kick butt. Keep pushing. Don't stop, because the bad gets ahead of you. See you guys. I'll talk to you soon.